Good morning to you all, both in person and live on YouTube, to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. My name is Ben Atherton-Zeman, and I am thrilled to be serving as your minister here, and even more thrilled to be leading worship alongside our worship associate, Beth Stombaugh.
Thanks, Ben. We are a people of many beliefs, but we share a common faith, that what we do in this world matters, and that we are connected to one another and to our planet. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here. I want to give a special welcome to any newcomers. If you want a church where we believe that love makes a family, that women should control their own bodies, and that the biggest disability is ableism, I have good news. You may have found your church home. After today's worship, we will be having our annual meeting right here in the sanctuary. We hope you will join us.
Thanks, Beth. And in keeping with last week's technical difficulties with audio, we are now down to one handheld mic. Alyssa, if you could bring up the corded mic, please, that'd be great. Thank you. Perfect. Today's worship is entitled Nurturing the Beauty of Community, and also along the lines of we neither expect nor do we offer perfection. There are some typos in your order of service. So if you open it to page 2, you will see Sunday, May 15th. So this is not, in fact, the schedule for last week. It is, in fact, the accurate schedule of the events for this week, but we put May 15th, 16th, and 17th before then getting back to the current present week, May 26th, and then we go back to May 20th. That's cool. Little Jeremy Bearimy time thing there. Not one person watches that show? Okay. Aaron Cassette is back and is feeling better. I'm so glad you're feeling better, Aaron. It's good to see you. Aaron's health is worth applauding. And we have special musical guests performing Ukrainian folk song for our anthem, and they've agreed to stick around for the end. These are my new friends, Elisa and Anna, everyone. Kelly Olson and Marissa Pohl are live streaming. Our greeters today are Linda Paul, Karen White, David Cole, Connie Hubbard, Jerry Humphrey-Gatz, and Jill Oldensky. Thank you so much for doing the greeting. Our RE volunteers, Ariana Drew with Trish Harding and Janae Johnson supporting them, and our view from the pew will be from Barbara Archibald. Now, the worship team tells me that we used to greet our neighbor at this point. Before COVID, you would turn to each. Do we want to do this again? Most of you said yes, so I'll take that as a majority. Now, before you run and hug someone, there is still COVID in the world, so let's do this. Do this like if I want to hug Elisa, I'll do this. I'll go and then you can be or offer a hand or just wave. If you're not sure what to say, try the following phrase: "You are enough." Let's greet our neighbors.
flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It is a symbol of hope, the sacred, the quest for truth, the warmth of community, the light of reason, and so much more. When Reverend Ben lights our chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found in the text chat. If you like, you may choose to follow along with the hand movements. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Thanks so much, Beth. Please rise as you're willing and able for hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit by Jim Scott. First 2 verses only. Be seated.
Our reading today is by Reverend Dana Worsnop and is called I Want to Be with People. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they are getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right.
I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved.
I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart.
I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see in me goodness and dignity, and who also see my failings and foibles, and who still love me.
I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it.
I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world.
I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit.
I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts.
I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you.
Please rise as you're willing and able for hymn number 346, literally the same page. Come Sing a Song with Me by Carolyn McDade, first 2 verses only. And this is the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. Those of you on YouTube Live, please type your joys and sorrows into the text chat. Those of you here, there should be cards in front of you that some of you have already discovered and written on. Please raise your hand if you have a card that someone can come grab. Nobody yet. There's still time. I'll talk slowly. Oh, there's one in the back. If someone could bring Kelly's card up to me.
Jerry?
Yep, and then we'll need Jerry as well. Hey, Jerry. Jerry, one of our intrepid greeters, will place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week. Thanks, Kelly.
Does anyone else have cards?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, you just pass it forward.
We're having them, yeah, on the cards.
Okay. First, a stone of joy and gratitude from Virginia Fox. For Cal Fox winning over lung cancer, he is officially in remission. Huge thanks to his awesome medical team, higher power, and UU surrounding him with love and positivity.
Stone from Ann Seidel with thanks for the life of John Martin Wood. John died last December and lived in the boat right next to them at the St. Pete Marina. John was a closeted gay man for most of his life.
This is from Kelly Patton. Will place a stone of concern. The court reinstating the Florida congressional map, which eliminates a black district and dilutes black voices, along with voting rights in general, and the rulings coming from the Supreme Court, like potential overturn of Roe versus Wade.
And then a stone, I'm sorry, I can't remember your first name.
Christine.
From Christine, I'm guessing it's a stone of sorrow. Christine says, my beloved mother, Etsy Vale, passed away. Oh, not even close. The name is Elsie Weissel, and she hasn't been back to church. Christine hasn't. She was 96. She was her beloved companion for the past 3 years, and I'm not saying it right. So one thing I heard you say was you're used to putting a stone in yourself. Would you mind putting a stone in, coming up and doing that? Okay, great, thank you. I do remember that she was 96 years old, that many of you knew her, and that it's been a long time since you've been here, and I'm just so glad that you're back and that you're here with us.
Do you want to give her the microphone for a second? Thank you. I guess I want to reclaim the church as my own, So, as many of you know, my mom and I came to church almost every week until COVID. Elsie Weissel, she was just my very beloved mother. She lived a long and wonderful life, and she died on April 4th in her apartment as she wanted, with me sitting next to her. And I love her dearly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart. This is a concern from Trish Harding. This is a concern for my sister Donna, who just underwent heart surgery.
Thank you for letting us fix that and handle it. Does anyone have any joys, sorrows, or concerns?
Any cards?
No, I did the card.
Okay.
So let's place the final stone for those joys, sorrows, and concerns that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken out loud. And let's take a moment of silence together. The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. Let us rejoice in our beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be. Singing from the pulpit.
From the what?
From this thing over here. This microphone is hot.
Okay.
It's either that or you share.
We can share, Mike. That's okay.
You rather share?
We're gonna do this. Yeah.
You'll bump into it a bit. Oh, Rebecca worked a miracle?
No, I was just.
No.
We find it gets over the guitar. You just do it now.
Hello? Yeah, it's really unusual to be here. I'm really glad to see everyone. I'm Anna. This is my friend Elisa. We're fellow USF students. I'm from Ukraine. She's from Russia. And we've been friends for a while. So everything that is happening right now, it's really hard for us. And we're going to be singing a song, Unwanted Guests. Oh, actually, the song called Guests, by Mia Ramari, which is a young Ukrainian singer, and my friend will talk about it a little more.
Yeah, so how we ended up here in the first place, we were performing 2 weeks ago at Williams Park for an event in support of Ukraine, and Reverend Ben just grabbed us the second we stepped down from the stage. Was like, "Are you interested in performing in our church?" We were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it." This song that we're singing is about the Russian invasion that is happening as we're speaking, and the perspective of the song is from a Ukrainian woman who is witnessing the invasion, and she's criticizing the invader and comparing them to unwelcome guests in her home, in her homeland, and is saying how everyone just wants them out of there. So here we go.
У мене вдома непрошені гості, я їм замість хліба дам каміння і кості. Горнятка налию, болота калюжі, хай знає, що ми з ними зовсім не друзі. Покинуті хлопці з дитячих садочків, невміло стріляють із своїх візочків. Уся моя вулиця вас приганяє, хай ваш хворий батька вас назад забирає. Я сплю спокійно і бачу небо, і більше мені нічого не треба. Твої долоні голодні від зброї, а серце гаряче, я буду з тобою, і ми будемо двоє. Я буду з тобою, і ми будемо двоє. Я буду з тобою. Мене і друзів єднає розлука, для нас ніби сонце це найгірша мука. Хотілось сказати, що все не так страшно, та ви все ж почали кричати невчасно. Невчасно сміялись, невчасно мовчали, тож зараз усі вже від вас повтікали. Ніхто не почув, ні пробач, ні будь ласка, на жаль, це і є найбільша ваша поразка. Я сплю спокійно і бачу небо, і більше мені нічого не треба. Твої долоні холодні від зброї, а серце гаряче, я буду з тобою. Я сплю спокійно і бачу небо, і більше мені нічого не треба. Твої долоні холодні від зброї, а серце гаряче, я буду з тобою, і ми будемо двоє. Я буду з тобою, і ми будемо двоє. Я буду з тобою.
How do I follow that? Thank you so much. Now it's time for all ages. If the children could come forward, please, and have a seat in the first two rows. Hey, guys. All right, good to see all four of you, all five of you. You all look sharp. I'll get you the so treacherous handheld one. May it. Yeah, we're having you sit in the pew this time. It's very exciting. For you, for me. All right. Hey. I know she's much more interesting, but I'm going to tell you a story. It's about this village, and there was this. It's a nice village. Everyone got along. There were markets. There were playgrounds, there were things like that. But one day, he said, hoping to catch their attention, one day, an incredible thing happened in this village. The goddess came to that village, and she walked through the village. She was so beautiful and so amazing. Little sparkles flew wherever she went. All the villagers couldn't believe it. They sat looking in stunned silence. And then she was gone, and no one knew what to say. All the villagers said, did you see? It was the goddess. And she was just sparkling, and she had that purple dress, and she was so beautiful. I can't believe the goddess went to our village. And the other villagers said, you're right. It was the goddess, and the dress was a little more blue than purple, but she was so beautiful. And the sparkles, and the other villagers said, far be it for me to contradict my beloved neighbor, but her dress was definitely purple. We can at least agree that she was beautiful and the sparkles and all that, but purple dress. And the other villagers said, far be it from me to contradict you, whose family has been here for 5 generations alongside mine, and I love and I respect you, but the dress was blue. And a fight ensued, an argument of epic proportions. Families that had been friends for generations refused to speak with one another. They even built a wall in the middle of the village to separate the goddess's dress was blue side of the village from the goddess's dress was purple side of the village. They did not speak, they did not trade, they did not date, they did not do commerce with the other side for years, until one day the goddess returned to that same village, walked on top of that huge wall that had been built, and the villagers clamored for her attention, saying, goddess, goddess, we know you're busy and beautiful and sparkly and everything, but we have an argument. Can you please resolve the argument for us? Remember that day you were walking in the village years ago and we didn't have the wall that you're walking on now? Was your dress that day, was it purple or was it blue?
Well, it was blue and purple.
And the goddess said it was a dress that was blue on one side
And
and
purple
on the other. And then she left. And there was awkward silence for a long time until the sound of one child laughing, just like that, was heard. And then another child laughed. And then all the children started to laugh. And all the adults started to laugh. And the laughter was so loud that the huge wall crumbled and the village was together once more. Yay. And that is your story. Please give a round of applause to Janae for playing the role of the goddess. And we didn't know what song to do for you, so we'll brought back an old chestnut that is beloved by many. Please join in. Please welcome Barbara Archibald. Who is not helping me.
I'm going to go.
Oh, you're going to go up there. Then it doesn't matter that you're...
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Barbara.
My name is Barbara Archibald, and I'm a member of this church and a member of the Board of Trustees. Our board president, Karen Cole, is almost finished with the one-year term that she promised us and that she promised her husband, Dave Cole. And I am here to thank her for her leadership and hard work this past year. There's an old saying, anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm. But Karen didn't have calm seas. Do you remember some of the things that roiled the waters? Pastor Jack Donovan's leave-taking, signing up our new minister, Reverend Ben, familiarizing the new minister with UUSP and UUSP with the new minister, Karen dealt with it. Some of us loved that Rev Ben wore a robe. Some of us hated it. Karen dealt with it. Some of us loved Rev Ben's fervor for social justice. Some of us didn't. Karen dealt with it. She also dealt with the work of an interim ministry. She guided the transition team. She engaged the congregation in the interim objectives. She kept everyone informed through emails and letters of what was going on with the Board of Trustees and the congregation at large. She guided and inspired our trustees to their tasks. She led us in the solution to solve our financial problems, some of our personnel problems. She put out every fire. She made every phone call. She met with every last person. She sent out every email to get us to where we are now. And did I mention that she did all of this during a pandemic that locked us out of the church and kept us isolated in our homes? Someone once said that a leader is a dealer in hope. This much I know is true. Karen is that dealer in hope, and she's gotten us to a hopeful place. Our new minister, the amazing staff, the enthusiastic new members. Do you remember how we filled the sanctuary to thank Sue Price for all her contributions, to celebrate the new kitchen, and to remember how the voices of John and James kept us together during the pandemic? Karen is responsible for that. And now we sit together in our sun-filled sanctuary. Thank you, Karen.
Surprise. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Aaron. I agree. Karen has been exactly the leader we needed during this difficult year. Barbara, you listed like a decade's worth of problems, and it was all within 1 year. Yet despite it all, we are still here. When I got here last July, we were in the depth of the pandemic. This room was empty. Worship was virtual. The office phone didn't work in my office. The air conditioning worked in my office, but when it did, it sounded like a freight train and didn't really cool that much. There were, however, many ants in the office, so when someone wanted to visit me, I had to tell them, this is where you sit to not get eaten by ants, and you have to choose between either being cool or being listened to. You can't have both. But since then, Morgan fixed the phones. Buildings and Grounds had new air conditioning installed. It's cool and quiet. We are here together in the sanctuary and still together live on YouTube. We are still here. I'm so proud of the work that we've done together. Despite all of these difficulties that Barbara listed, despite COVID, despite our disagreements, despite me wearing a robe so much. Truth be told, our denomination has never been one to shy away from an argument. From its inception, we have refused to go along with the majority opinion if we think that majority opinion is incorrect, yet we are still here. Some trace our denomination's origins to the 3rd century Christian philosopher Origen of Alexandria. Unlike most of the church fathers, Origen questioned the equality of the Trinity. beliefs which would eventually be condemned as heresy. And centuries later, Michael Servetus, many of you know, was burned at the stake for having these very same beliefs, challenging the concept of the Trinity, yet we are still here. In the 16th century, Francis David founded the Unitarian Church in Transylvania. This is the man whose saying is translated on our old postcard: "We don't have to think alike to love alike." Through David's relationship with the king, the first law ever known to ban discrimination on the basis of religion was passed, the Edict of Torda in 1568. We are still here. In colonial United States, Universalists believed in this radical notion that everyone goes to heaven. For their beliefs, they were rewarded by not being allowed to own property, not being allowed to serve on juries. Their Calvinist fellows, including our own Unitarian ancestors, wondered, how can you trust anyone who doesn't believe in divine punishment for sin? Yet we are still here. During those same years, indigenous Americans were forced off their lands, including these lands that we're standing on. Indigenous people were punished for their ways of worship, and our own Declaration of Independence includes the phrase, "merciless Indian savages." It's in the Declaration. Today, indigenous teachings are honored in Unitarian Universalism as part of our 6 sources of inspiration. And indigenous Unitarian Universalists are taking their rightful place as leaders of our denomination, as leaders of our own church. We're still here. 1 century ago, right on this spot, Unitarians and Universalists combined forces and founded this church, decades before the merger of the 2 denominations. Their first called minister was a woman, Ella Elizabeth Bartlett. We're still here. Today, UU St. Pete is one of many churches in our county to support Ukrainian refugees. I got to be with many of them months ago at the Ukrainian Catholic Church. We're one of many churches to affirm that Black lives matter. We're one of few churches to ordain and marry LGBTQIA+ people, and one of few churches to publicly support a woman's right to reproductive freedom. UU churches, along with Black churches and other liberal churches, have been firebombed, have been victimized by gun violence, yet we're still here. Our UUA president, Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, says this is no time for a casual faith. Decades before that, William Hutchinson Murray said, until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back. He says, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now, he says. We sang Gather the Spirit a few minutes ago by Jim Scott, and in a few minutes we will gather for our annual meeting. Please attend. Please commit to our congregation's future. We're not going to agree on everything, but at the end of the meeting, we'll still be here. And years from now, a century from now, we'll still be here. It's not like we just have strong opinions and disagree on stuff. We help one another all the time. We even help the same people we disagree with. It's what we do. When Cal in Virginia, who are watching online, tell us that he's winning over lung cancer, we all rejoice. Come on in. It's good to see you. When Ruby tells us she's facing discrimination and homelessness, we all help. On Friday, I answered the office phone. Kelly was home, not feeling well, and it was Mrs. Silverstein calling. Mrs. Silverstein, did you make it today? Oh, hey, it's you. Hi. It's good to see you. Mrs. Silverstein, I think I remember you told me you felt like you were alone on an island. We'd spoken months before that, and you tried coming last week and couldn't find parking, and I'm just thrilled that you're here today. You're not alone. None of you are alone. Ruby, you're not alone. Virginia, online, you're not alone. You're not alone as well. I'm so glad each of you are here. I'm so glad you are a part of this community. We could not do this without you. I wrote here, we've lost 4 of our own this year, and this morning I learned it's actually 5. I'm so sorry for your loss. I hope many of you can attend our Mary Berglund's celebration of life on Monday at 5 p.m. right here. I'll be in New England already, and Janae, aka the goddess, will be. Hey, Virginia. I literally just said your name and then you appeared. Reverend Judith Myers says, this is what we do in our faith. Live in this world knowing that we will lose each other. Loving despite the hard bargain it makes of us. Do what we can, she said, to make the world a place where this truth can safely be lived, measuring our faith by the difference we have made. Build faith communities, she said, to continue long after we are gone, where we are remembered by lives of good works and care. Worlds we have made so that others may live. The leadership we need to build such a faith community, to maintain it, to bring it to the future, to the next century, is difficult to find. It takes someone with strong opinions, someone who is also willing to listen to those of different opinions. It takes someone invested in our church community, invested in each relationship with each one of you, invested in our mission. This sound like anyone you know? It's our outgoing congregation president, Karen Cole. As Barbara described, you met this challenge. You did what we asked you to do. We talked like, if not every day, then every other day since August. And usually she says, well, I talked to so-and-so at aerobics class about that issue, or I talked with this other person, I saw her in walking group, or I talked to this other person in water aerobics. So I'm not sure you actually go to water aerobics for any reason other than, like, no, you do, you actually go for water aerobics, but Karen gets so much done in each hour of each day. And she is our president until July 1st, not August, don't worry. But please join me in thanking once again our president of our congregation, Karen Cole. Thank you so much. So in a few minutes, our annual meeting will begin. We will come with our passion for justice. We will come with our connection to one another, to this congregation, and to the world. We can let the laughter of children tumble down any walls between us, any disagreements we have, as the village did in the goddess and the dress story. We can be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things, as Beth said in the quote that she picked out for today. Elisa and Anna already told you that one of them is Russian and one is Ukrainian. If they can come together to work for peace in Ukraine and to make beautiful music, surely we can come together for our future at UU St. Pete, so that a century from now they will be talking about us the way we talk about our founding. Reverend Heather K. Daniels said, "From the power of our memory and history, with high hopes for the days that lie ahead, we gather to craft the destiny we share with one another. We gather with faith in the practice of democracy. We gather with hearts and minds open to the wisdom in every voice among us. In our gathering, she said, may we dream and design a bold future. May we bring our best selves to this service. And may we dream these dreams and do this work with love. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Now let us remember our connection to one another. And let us not forget our contributions to support the means to those connections. If you are a newcomer here, please refrain from making a donation. This service is our gift to you, and your presence is your gift to us. The offering will now be given and received.
Now feel free to follow along with the hand gestures as Christine extinguishes our chalice. The words to our traditional chalice extinguishing are in your order of service, and online they are in the text chat. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Now please rise as you're willing and able as Anna sings the Ukrainian national anthem.
Hello? Okay.
Ще не вмерла Україні ні слава, ні Ще нам, браття
thank you very much for having us. You have a wonderful community, and thank you for supporting.